Hi, I'm going to share with you the third fabulous version of 3 layouts that I created, along with some instructions for Close to My Heart, and these are available to consultants to download and work through with customers. So therefore, if you are a consultant, check out the instruction guides under events, and you can print these out and use them with customers. All the materials and things are there. If you are a customer, check in with your consultant and you can access the basic instructions as well as the materials lists for these. What I'm showing you here is the fast version of this layout. So this was layout C in the set of instructions. And it uses the Make It From Your Heart Volume 3 Pattern 7, but I have made changes to the photo sizes, the position of the title, and where the journaling sits. So these cuts that I'm showing you here are all available in the instructions. So it uses either a full paper collection, or it can use half of the paper pack and one of the bulk papers for the timber collection. So for this layout, I selected some road trip photos. Yes, there is some mountains in there. My husband and I recently drove back a different way than we normally drive from my family's farm after a bit of an adventure with locking the keys in the car. Don't really know how that happened, but we ended up needing to get a tow truck came out and he pumped a little thing in the door and managed to let us in, which was great because we were sort of half an hour away from a main city at that point. Anyway, that's just another sideline story, but they're fun stories to add into our pages as they add to the adventure. So there's 2 sides to our cardstock. You saw me there just playing around with the 2 different sides and making a decision as to which side I was going to go for. So here I am marking where the papers will sit. And that's based on the measurements of the cuts. So this version that I'm doing here is the fabulous version. So I did, in these instructions, we had a fast version, which was the basics using this collection and the die cuts, and then the fun collection brought in the stickers, and now I'm working on the fabulous collection, which uses quite a few different bits and pieces from this collection. From this idea book actually. So here I am using the plaid stamp, and my technique is not amazing. However, I really liked how it looked at the end, even though there were imperfect bits, a bit like our trip really with the adventure at the start of it. So essentially you're just lining up these pieces, and then I've chosen the other colour just to stamp in over the top. And it adds some extra lines and dimension to this sort of plaid look on what would otherwise be a plain cardstock background. So keep going with these and do this onto both pieces of the cardstock that you've got, lining them up as you go. You can see there that I have stamped into the background. And now I'm trimming out some of our ribbons just to add to the sort of the ledge or the layers that are down the bottom, lining up things there to see where it's going to all fit. Just in this different version of the layout. So here I am using the piercing tool because I'm going to add some stitching just to add to the sort of the ruralness or the rural feel of the photos that I've put into this. So stitching can add a softening or a rustic, sort of a homely feel to things a little bit in there. So you can see that I am using our sapphire thread, and after piercing the holes it gives me a bit of a line to work from. I decide just to do the single stitch all the way along rather than back stitching it because I wanted you to be able to see the stitches when the layout was finished. So just once I've got the thread in, I just tuck it in and around on the back there so that I'm not having to use extra stuff to hold it in place. You could use some washi tape or something else just to hold that in there if you wanted. So you can see that stitching, and I've done that along the top and I've done that along the bottom on sort of the they talk about the hero paper, which has got the mountains and the bears and things like that on it. So these are 3x4 photos. So this layout uses five 3x4 photographs across. You could look to using portrait photos in 4x6 along here as well, and that would tie in just as well. But because these images were all taken in landscape, I needed to print them at the smaller size. So I'm just trimming down this a little bit. I think I trimmed it down to 11 inches or maybe 11 and a half, because I wanted it to sort of sit centered but have a bit of room off either side. And working out which journaling card I want to include on here, and I end up going for this mountains card. It worked okay because I had changed I'd changed the cardstock so it wasn't so plain, so the card didn't stand out quite as much as it had beforehand. So just trimming off the top and the bottom of this card, this PML card. This is the same as it was for the fast and the fun, and I've also included this into the fabulous version, and I'm pulling in some of the stickers from the sticker sheet. I'm adding a few more to this layout than I did in the fun version, just because there's more on it, it can handle more. If that makes any sense at all, I'm not sure. So I am just placing some of the stickers. So you can buy the paper collection separate, or you can buy it with the stickers. So the fun version of this layout uses the stickers, and then the fabulous version uses all of it. It's kind of like all the stuff. So just playing around with the different positioning and the different sizing here, pulling out some of these stickers. The sayings, it's not about getting into the mountains or getting out and about necessarily, the photos that I have chosen. However, it was kind of a nice trip just with my husband and I. The kids were all busy doing other things, so it was great to get out. So for the title of this layout, I thought a little bit creatively, because I'd actually run out of letters on my foam my white foam alphabet. So I decided to use, to do a little bit of heat embossing. So I'm using the gold tinsel embossing powder, and I have used the Chronicle type letters in here. So this is a stamp. The great thing about these stamps is they can be used over and over, lots of different colours, lots of different ways. So I'm using some Versamark, and I'm just stamping with this and just pouring the glitter over the embossing powder over top. And so now I'm just funneling that off. And I will just tap that off on a spare piece of cardstock, a rough piece that I've sort of done lots of other bits on, saving every last piece. So I've typed, I've put the words road on there, and then using the stamp chamois to clean that off before changing the letters to do trip. And so you can see here that I've heat embossed them already, and that's got a really nice shiny feel to it. I'm going to fussy cut around each of the letters, and you can just see that gold shine on the letters there. So photos don't quite do this justice. It sort of comes out this muddy brown colour, but when you see it in real life, the gold's quite fabulous, really. So I decided to spread the title out across both pages just to centre it a little bit more, whereas in the fast and fun version, the letters had stuck over to the bottom right of the left-hand side page. So I am placing these on here. So to stick these down, you can either use one of the tape runners, or you could use a little bit of the foam tape if you wanted to lift them up a little bit more. So they can be nicely lined up. They could be sort of a little bit random. You could shape the letters a little bit because they're all individual. So one of the beauties of having the letters separate when they're not stickers is that I can sort of play around with where I want them to sit for the balance and the overall effect of the layout. So I've decided to do it this way, and I have stuck them down. So now I'm adding some of the gold, I think it was the gold glittered gems onto this one. And this was pretty much, I'd also added these onto the fun version as well. And there we have the finished page. Thanks for watching.